Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Completely Fucking Clueless podcast. My name is Sarah Alice Liddy.
And my name is Audrey TT, and we both use she, her pronouns.
And we're in my apartment. What a fun thing that we have going now. We're just like changing studios, because we have that type of money.
And by studios, you mean our apartments.
Literally. But you guys get a change of scenery, which is probably maybe nice. I don't know.
I can't tell.
Yeah.
For you just listening, nothing's changed on your end.
Yeah. But it's nice because I feel like, at least for this month, we're kind of back on a schedule of seeing each other on a weekly basis.
Which is nice. Yes.
I know. Yeah. It feels like I had a therapy session today. Actually, the last one, not with the new therapist.
Yes,
I had my last one with my current therapist, at least for 6 weeks. We kind of set this deadline of like, okay, like I have my first session with the new one tomorrow. And so she was like, you can't date two people at once. And I was like, I know.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
Should I have a roster of therapists?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's hot. That's hot. That's hot.
That's emotionally that's emotionally stable. But we set like out an appointment for 6 weeks, and she was like, let me know how tomorrow goes, and because those first few sessions will be like an evaluation period, and
it's so annoying. It's like, here's every problem I've had in my life.
Here are all my traumas. So yeah, I'll have a couple sessions that are like an evaluation period, and then she'll come to me and be like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I think we should do. And of course, like I could not like her as well. So we'll see.
But it feels so mean to dump them. Particularly when it's right off the bat, because it's just like, to be honest, a lot of it, like for me at least, has been like about vibe of like, do I vibe with you and feel comfortable talking to you? And like, there's no way to just be like, hey, sorry, I just, I don't really like talking to you.
Well, that's what I said to my therapist today. I was like, so I just kind of chose off vibe. And she's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes, I guess. But we're making moves. And it was funny because in this like session today, we sort of talked about how I have this tendency, and it first exhibited itself in like my relationships. And then it sort of came in other ways too, where I stay in the comfortable. Like, oh, yeah. Yeah, the devil,
and I didn't mean that at you. I meant that as, boy, is it fucking hard to leave what you know.
Yeah. I stay in the devil I know. Because even when I'm thinking about my jobs, like, okay, so also last year, today was the day that I started my residency.
Woo!
Yeah, so it's been a year on my job, which is kind of crazy. But I remember when starting to look for other jobs, I was thinking about like, how is this going to affect like the podcast? Like, I'm so nervous to get a full-time job because what if I can't handle it? What if it's terrible? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I got the job and I figured it out. And then like similarly, I'm at this same point where I'm like, oh my gosh, like what if I switch job? Oh my God, guys, my mouth is so dry. So my words are like jumbling together. I'm like, what if I switch jobs? What if I switch therapists and things are terrible? Like, let me just stay in what's comfortable.
Change is so hard.
Yeah.
Maybe I already mentioned this on a different episode. With moving, like it's been a lot of change, and as much as like it was change that I was pretty prepared for and whatnot, like there are moments where I like feel the like stress about like that level of change slipping out of like when I went to the grocery store and I couldn't find any of the type of cheese that I like to buy.
Yep.
And I like literally almost started crying in this grocery store. I stared at the wall of cheeses for like 20 minutes because none of them were a brand of cheese I'd bought before. And I was like, where is my cheese? I want cheddar cheese, but I want it to be a brand that I've bought from before. And oh my God, why don't they have fucking Cracker Barrel? Cracker Barrel's not even the cheese I get. It was the only cheese brand I could think of in this moment. Anyway, change is hard.
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting because it's like, that the situation that you're in is not working for you.
Yes.
But somehow it seems better, or like to your brain, than the possibility of finding something new and then it being terrible.
Because the unknown, like what we cannot calculate and what is unknown to us is inherently scary.
Yeah.
Like just not knowing, just kind of like the dark is scary. Like TBH, I still find the dark kind of scary. Not gonna lie. I was when I was a kid, I was kind of convinced that sound would like scare off the dark. So anytime that I had to go like walk to my parents' bathroom alone and it was dark, I would full sing to myself because I was like, the noise will scare off the monsters.
I love that.
But change, absolutely fucking terrifying. I mean, like I resisted a long time getting even diagnosed with depression because I watched other people in my family go through it. I knew what it looked like, but just the idea of that change and it being like real was so scary, and the change of like then having to deal with it, I was like, I'd rather just stay in here where I'm absolutely fucking miserable and do nothing about it.
Literally, yeah. It's so interesting because like you could make a change, and I feel like 90 like something % of the time you do feel better from it. But
it's just the doing it.
Yeah, and it's just that like a couple of percentage of like what if it's terrible? But something that my therapist and Olivia say to me all the time is like, sure, it could be terrible, but you are strong enough to figure it out if it is terrible. So yeah, a lot of change happening. I'll keep you guys posted on how the new therapy goes. But yeah, can't believe it. A very like crazy day for me. Last therapy session, 1 year at my job.
She said personal growth.
Growth. But like also not growth at the same time. Like I said to my therapist, I was
don't undercut your accomplishments.
Sure. No, there is a lot of growth. Like it's funny. I'm going to change the story that I was going to say. I texted my parents today and I was like, yeah, 1 year at my job. Like, feeling very accomplished, like da-da-da-da-da. And my dad texted me back, like, I'm so proud of you. And like, whatever, I know whatever version of success that you have and you build for yourself is going to be amazing. I started hysterically crying.
Yep.
Hysterical. I was like, someone's proud of me. I'm doing a good job.
Yep.
Yeah. Hysterically crying. I just like, it was funny.
With getting back into auditioning, I've been talking to one of my friends, Emma, a lot about it. And she, to be honest, has been one of the people who like definitely like not pushed me back into it, but like encouraged me in a really wonderful way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start crying if I talk about it for too long. But like, I truly like her support meant the world for me. And then I texted her like, the first audition that I went, like we kind of were at the same one. And then when I went to a second one, I texted her, and like having support and encouragement and like people who care about you and cheer you on when you like do good, or even when you just like do something.
Yeah.
Makes a fucking difference. Like
Totally.
I've now gone to 3 auditions in like the span of 1 week. And like 6 months ago, I really couldn't have imagined that. And like, I really genuinely am so thankful to my wonderful friend Emma, because she's been like such a lovely support system, like throughout like the past several years, but like of someone who like I can really talk to about their theater, and like who has really like not even nudged me, but helped sort of hold my hand as I sort of consider maybe walking down that path again.
Yeah. I feel like when something is scary, like it's nice when somebody's there to like hold your hand sometimes and be like, hey, like you can do this.
It turns out community and friends are helpful and a good thing. And also, hey, you who won't accept help when people offer it, take it. When they offer 4 times, take it. Because guess what? You're going to feel so much better accepting that help. You're not going to feel like you're fucking drowning anymore. And guess what? Your friends like helping you. I know that, at least within my head, like I for so long, and even still now, I'm so focused on like not being a inconvenience to people or like be too much of a burden. And it's like, hey, anytime a friend asks you to help out, I never leave that situation being like, oh, they're such a burden, fucking hate them.
Sure.
It's like, no, you leave feeling good because you just helped a friend. Like, so let your friends help you, okay?
Period. To change gears, it's Pride Month.
It is Pride Month.
It is
Do you
June.
have a Clueless moment?
I don't have a Clueless moment. Guys, my mouth is so dry. I cannot. No, but it's just so interesting that like when your mouth is dry, like you can't speak.
Yeah, no. It's a dead giveaway for me when I'm stoned of sometimes I get really bad dry mouth and my words get sticky. Yeah, it's really embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, especially for a podcast. Like you guys are listening to this audio of us speaking. Anyways, it is Pride Month.
It is Pride Month,
and
yes.
Something I wanted to say was, and I don't think this is a Clueless moment. Maybe it is a Clueless moment. So Olivia and I started watching Survivor.
Yes.
Because there's not much on TV. We love the traitors. And so, you know, people from Survivor
Have you watched The Ultimatum, the gay season?
The Ultimatum. Oh, yes, I have. Wait, is there a new one?
No, but there's a new one coming out this August or September.
I know. Well, because so I've watched The Ultimatum, right?
Yes. I've not watched the straight seasons. I don't care about the straight seasons.
Yeah, they're okay. I thought The Ultimatum was really good, but Olivia doesn't like Love is Blind. They don't like, but I was like, I really wanted them to watch The Ultimatum with me. They wouldn't. And now I've made it a required watching.
Amazing.
Like, so I'm like waiting for the next season because I want to watch it with them because I like their opinions on couples. I think it's interesting to watch couples problems or like the things that people struggle with, and kind of like talk about it with your partner and think about like, oh, like how would we deal with something like this?
Wow, that's so mature.
I don't know. I think it's interesting.
That is. Back to your saying about Survivor before I got us
no,
incredibly
it's okay.
off topic.
No, I like it. I think it's interesting, especially with somebody that's like, I don't know.
I only care about the gay seasons.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the straights.
Gay seasons. Well, Survivor doesn't have gay seasons, but Liz informed me that watching Survivor is gay.
I believe that. Do you know who's the number one Survivor supporter?
Who?
Lover? Take a guess. I only have like 4 friends.
Julia Perry?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This is so interesting because I was like, yeah, like Olivia and I are starting Survivor. There's nothing to watch. So we're like, why not? And Liz goes, watching Survivor is gay. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gay. And this is
That's the moment you discovered it.
from watching Survivor. No, but it's like, okay, so sometimes I feel like, you know, people will talk about how like, oh, I knew I was gay because I had a crush on this celebrity or like whatever. And when somebody asks me that, like, what was your gay awakening? I feel like I never have an answer.
I don't think I do either.
Yeah.
But
and
I think it's just because I thought like everyone's really pretty and I didn't know that like there was a not that way of thinking.
Right. It's interesting because like, I think I didn't have like some like gay awakening because my first kiss was with Olivia, who was then a girl, right? So it was sort of like it was already happening to me and right in front of me. Like the experiences I had were my awakening.
I think like weirdly for me, just like it's a different time now, and like we talk about people being gay existing a lot more than like we used to. Of like it wasn't a very common thing in media. I mean, like Glee, I know was huge, crazy, big representation. Like that was groundbreaking at that fucking time. And so like I know like truly for myself, like I didn't know by being bisexual was an option until someone mentioned it to me in high school, and I was like, oh. But I just thought, hey, people are hot. I realized like I really loved, I think I've spoken about this before, but I would always like within movies and TV shows, I loved couples. Like I wouldn't often care about like a singular person as much, but I really liked couples. And I think it was usually just because it's like, hey, they're really hot. But I didn't have a moment either, and I'm a little disappointed that I didn't.
Yeah. And so like I think when things like, oh, watching Survivor is gay, or like doing something that is like inherently queer, but like it's just like something about yourself, it makes me feel like I'm like kind of a part of the community, because even though I've been out for 4 years, I've been in a queer relationship for 4 years, there's still a part of me that feels like not a part of the community, which is like weird, but like is a thing.
Oh, absolutely same. I mean, I've been out since I was in high school, and I mean, and really, the where it comes slightly different is like I've only been in one actual relationship. I've only had sex with 2 people, and they were both men. So there's a huge part of me that still very much feels like a fucking fraud. And there's like a little mean voice in the back of my head that's like, "Are you doing this for attention?" But then I'm like, women are really hot, and I would like to kiss them.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you have talked about lately how you're like more interested in like exploring relationships with women than men.
Yeah. I've really not found myself very interested in men recently. I also have a whole separate thing that I'm probably not going to super dive into right now.
That's okay.
But sort of a lot of realizations that I've had in my life have kind of come slowly to me. Like, when I realized that I was struggling, very different, but you'll see how these relate when I get to the end, I promise. Like when I realized that I was struggling really badly with suicidal ideation, like there was a moment where it clipped, like I had for years been talking to myself and thinking about how I didn't want to exist. And there was a moment where it clicked of like, hey, do you know what not wanting to exist is? Wanting to be dead. And I, for a lot of years, I think I've spoken about how, like, I don't love gender as a concept. And something I've really been, like, stewing on a lot is, like, my relationship to, like, being a woman. And, like, if I feel that really 100% fits. And I still definitely have a lot of exploring to do. And I would say, like, I definitely, probably once a year for about 3 months, change my pronouns on, like, social media to she, they. And then I sort of chicken out and change them back for the rest of the year. I'm currently going through another phase with that of just, like, there's something that feels very limiting about the idea of like, or too specific about being like a woman, and something that doesn't quite feel right. And like, I don't want to be a man. I'm not interested in being on testosterone, but like, I think I've spoken a lot about how like, hey, if gender was way less of a fucking thing, I would get my titties yanked right off. I already plan on getting a lot of my titty cut off. And like, I feel like a person more than I feel specifically like a woman. A woman is how I've been raised and socialized. And I feel like it's a lot of people in my personal life would be confused by this, particularly because like I love pink and I in
Sure.
a lot of ways really present very feminine, but I don't know, it just I've spoken a lot about how like I don't love how gendered everything is, and how often like I wish that I could just sort of be a blob of energy and not have to have a physical form. But that's something I'm choosing to examine for myself this Pride Month, is my relationship to gender and how I kind of wish it didn't exist.
Period. As you should. I feel like, you know, kind of that this concept, like you're always coming out, you're always figuring out things about yourself and exploring things. I know that's something that I want to do in my new therapy journey. I'm calling it my new therapy chapter, like is really kind of talk about like the internalized the internalized homophobia I have toward myself, just like things like that. But like also things have gotten a lot better since it came out 4 years ago. Like, you know, I think about how uncomfortable I was at first, like going out with Olivia, holding hands, kissing, all that stuff, and like thinking about like the date that we went on Sunday, like we're at the Whitney in New York, and yes, I think New York feels safe, right? For the most part. And like, yeah, we're holding hands, we're kissing, like you see other queer couples. And that's just like the universal experience of queer people or queer couples, I think, or like, queer people in general. It's like when you spot one of spot each other, you're like, hey.
If two women see me staring at them in public, I promise I'm not doing it in a homophobic way. I just like when I see a gay couple specifically of like more female presenting people, I just kind of found myself staring at them a little bit.
No, same. When especially like on social media too, when I see queer couples, and especially queer couples with children, because, you know.
See, that doesn't really do much for me.
You're like, that is terrible. No, there's this one couple that oh my God, guys, I'm so sorry. This episode in my mouth. There's this one queer couple that makes like outfit checks with their daughter, and like it is so
very cute.
They're all wearing like matching Adidas Sambas. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute. And it just like makes me hopeful, because that's a representation that like for me, right, as somebody who like one day wants to get married and have children, and like you're not seeing that a lot with your situation. And so to see it out there, whether it's like in person on the street or like on TikTok, it makes me feel hopeful, and it makes me feel like, okay, like I can do this too. Like this will be my journey, and there's representation out there for my journey, and my journey can be like a beautiful one, an amazing one, and my children can live like amazing lives.
I have two queer female couples that I follow that both have children. I'll send them your way.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, because that was actually one of the first things that when I came out was like a really big thing for me, was like trying to find other queer couples that like were representation. Like a lot, I like to look at a lot of queer women's pages that are femme, because I'm very femme, and sometimes that's a part of my identity that I struggle with, because it feels like when people look at me, they don't really see queer. Like Liz and I and two of her friends were at a restaurant the other day, and the waiter was like, oh, I didn't think you guys were gay. And
I get jealous sometimes. My sister reads is really gay, and
she does,
and I don't. And I get a little jealous of that sometimes.
It just makes you feel like, I guess like it makes me close in a little bit, or just feel weird. But yeah, I think like that was a huge thing at the beginning of my journey, was just trying to find the representation of like the life that I have in my head, and people that look like me or are in relationships like me, like living that life beautifully and successfully and happily. Yeah. But back to Clueless moments. That was so far away. Do you have any? I don't think I have any.
I do have one.
Okay, go for it.
I know how it would work in person, because it's similar to college. How do you like fuck someone via a dating app? I'm not really asking because I plan on doing it. I just don't really think that works for me. But this is something I've been curious about now for a couple years, of like,
how do you have sex with somebody on a dating app?
Yeah, from a dating app. Like, how does that conversation work? Like, obviously you cannot just say like, hi, I would like to have sex with you. Please come have sex with me. But like, what do you do it? And I made a TikTok about this, and people have given me some interesting answers of like, they'll often meet up for a drink beforehand, or be like, do you want to watch a movie? And it does make me think of like, I have one time to watch a movie, and we watched the movie. I might have misread that. Oops. And yeah, it's just so curious to me, because like I kind of know how it worked in college, but that was mostly all in person. You would like go to a frat, and you would like just sort of see each other, make out, whatever, leave. But like how it works with the hooking up via dating app, like, because like I don't want like a stranger in my home, but I also don't really want to go to a stranger's home. And like how that conversation works, how you let them know like, hey, I would like to have sex and that is what I'm looking for in this moment.
Yeah, wow. That is so interesting because I've never had that experience. I have had one night stand in Punta Cana.
I've never had a one night stand.
And you know what? I had a little bit of alcohol. It was consensual, everybody. But so like, I don't 100% remember the moment where we decided like
that was still in person. Like, how does it work over app?
Yeah. See, I've never had that experience
because I feel like you can at least somewhat get vibes in person.
Yeah. So is there a culture out there where people are like strictly looking for hookups on dating apps?
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, I would say some of it I feel like is separated out by like what app you are using.
Sure.
Like I feel like Tinder tends to be more of a hookup app where Bumble I feel like lives somewhere in the middle, and then Hinge is usually for more dating.
Yeah.
Bumble I still see mostly dating stuff, but then every once in a while I'll get some weird freaky shit on there. You know, nothing against that. Love your freaky shit. I'm not going to speak to if I do have freaky shit. That's going to stay private for now. That definitely really implies that I'm into something weird. Oh well, I'm gonna move on. 100% there is. Yes, hookup culture is definitely a thing.
I know. It's so funny. I've been out of the game for so long.
I've also been out of the game. My dude, I haven't done anything beyond kissing since fall of 2020. I'm about to hit 4 years.
I'm
perfectly okay with
yeah,
that.
I feel like you just have to.
I have a great collection of sex toys and honestly have had a pretty low sex drive for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Antidepressants. Woo!
I feel like you probably just have to, like, whether it's going, like, dating or hooking up, like, you just have to, like, I guess take a step forward, right?
But, like,
specifically.
I feel like in dating, you're allowed to be a little more upfront, whereas, like, I feel like in, like, trying to hook up, there's a lot more, like, implied, which I'm not great at that, especially when it's not in person. Like, when you can't get tone of voice, like, I can't tell when people are even flirting with me. Like, it's bad. People have to tell me if someone's flirting with me.
We need to ask some of our gay male friends because I feel like Grindr.
But I feel like that's such a different culture.
Okay,
yeah.
different culture. Okay.
Grindr is its own fucking suburb. When I made the TikTok about it, someone told me to get on Grindr, and I was like, I don't think Grindr's for me.
Right, because that's what I'm thinking, right? But yeah, I guess like how do you approach that conversation?
It also is interesting to me, like there isn't really. Like, I know there are some, but, like, there are no major dating apps that are just for queer women, that are queer women focused. Like, there are apps, but, like, none to the level of Grindr. But I feel like part of that is because, like, the whole joke of the lesbian community is that, like, everyone dates, like, their ex's ex. Everyone dates each other. Like, it's very small and all in person. I feel like, in a general sense, it has less of a hookup culture and more of a dating culture.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I'm perplexed. This is really perplexing me. Guys, we're going to reach out to the audience now. I want to ask people because I bet there are people that have like figured out how to like hook up.
I'm certain because we have friends.
Are we lame?
Yeah. Absolutely. Dude, I go to bed at 9:30 now. Like I couldn't get fucked even if I wanted to.
Okay. I'm having sex, but I'm just having sex with the same person.
I'm having nothing. Yeah.
Damn.
You're not lame. You're in a relationship. I'm lame.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about the movie, and there was this guy in high school. We would go to the movies to like hook up, not like have sex, but like hook up, you know, before like, you know, we were doing all that stuff, but like I gave a hand job in a movie theater. I gave a hand job at a Broadway show.
Sarah! Oh my God, that's maybe the best thing you've ever told me in our entire friendship.
Wait, do you want to know which musical it was
at? Yes, absolutely.
Once.
That's such a funny musical. It's so like...
I cannot believe I said that, and that will be on the internet. Nancy Purdy. Oh my God, no Nancy Purdy warning.
Nancy Purdy warning. This whole thing has already been a Nancy Purdy warning. I think I'll put it in. Nancy Purdy, you should have hopped off by now. I actually have spoken to Andrew Purdy about this though, and he's like, I think she might just listen to it all the way through. And I'm like, that's fair. I just would like to give her the option to hop off.
In my brain, when we say Nancy Purdy warning, like, but
any adult.
In my brain, like,
no one I know listens to
this.
Yeah.
Right. In my brain, it's
and then when I run into like someone I knew 7 years ago from high school, and they're like, I love listening to the podcast. I'm like, oh no!
I know. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna know that I gave a hand job at once.
See, like, okay, honestly, hearing about like you and other friends like sexual experiences from high school like makes me like kind of bummed that I like really missed that whole thing of like for me like I had made out with like one person in high school, and then my friend group would all make out a lot, and then I kind of stepped back from that because I went, you're two straight women and a gay man, and I feel like this feels different for me than it does for you too, so I'm gonna stop. But like I really didn't do anything in high school, and then when I went to college, I started dating someone the first couple of weeks of college, and we like not that far in the school year, maybe like 2 months into the school year, like had sex, but we full skipped everything in between. We like made out and then went straight to sex. And we never during that time of dating did anything in between. I mean, admittedly,
ow.
Yeah.
Were you lubricated?
No!
Oh my God. What? Oh my God. You should have talked to me. I'm like, you should have.
It was like 2 months into the school year. I didn't have any friends.
my
So the night
God.
after it happened, I didn't tell anyone until like, I don't remember. It was either like you
right.
or
Okay,
Katie or Steph, like a couple weeks after it happened. We're like, wait, did that ever happen? And I was like, yeah, I told no one after I had sex for the first time.
Oh my God. I'm so silly. I was thinking it was like your boyfriend, not this
No,
guy.
no,
okay,
no, 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 no.
Okay. Then I
mean,
get it. But oh my God.
my ex
ouchie.
after that, I'm gonna be honest, was so bad at oral that I would just stop him.
That
I would
is-
stop him and be like, no, let's keep going with other stuff because he was very bad.
Ooh.
Yeah,
honestly, my sexual experiences started pretty young. Like they started when I was like after having my first
I wish
kiss.
I'd gotten more of that because, like, to be honest, I then reached a point where it's like, oh, I feel like I missed the period to be bad at this, and now I'm old. And like, here's the thing, I even feel that now. Like, I'm now about to be 26. I've had sex with 2 people, and to be honest, most of the sex that I've had was in that one longer relationship that I was in. But I was on increasingly higher doses of antidepressants throughout that. Of like, I feel incredibly unconfident in sex, and I feel like I missed out on a lot of shit. And to be honest, really Nancy Purdy warning. Like I've only given like 2.5 blowjobs in my life, and it was to that one guy I dated. And to be honest, I was very bad at them. I was not good at keeping my teeth out of it and would injure his penis. But yeah, I feel like out on that really crucial development that I now feel like it's like kind of too late for me to have. And like, I feel nervous about having sex with women, but like, to be honest, I don't feel confident in having sex with men either. I don't feel confident in sex. And that doesn't even count like the additional layer of like, hey, don't have much experience, secondary level, was on antidepressants and had no sex drive for a really long time. Then third level, sexual assault. We're going to skip over that though.
Sure. So I think when you are my God, let me just start that again, everyone. When people are with new partners, I feel like there's so much time that it takes to really learn each other's bodies. So if the sex isn't like mind-blowingly amazing at first, which is also just like something that the movies make up.
I've
like,
not really even had good sex. I've had one sexual instance that I like really enjoyed. And it wasn't with the guy I dated for like 9 months.
Yeah.
No offense to him.
Because I feel like at first, like it takes a second, like, and that's why I feel like sometimes like these like hookup culture one night stands can be like dissatisfying for people, because not only is it like emotionally dissatisfying, it can be physically dissatisfying too, right? And I feel like also when usually there's alcohol mixed in or something, it's like not that great, because let's be real, like I, at least for me, like I've realized that I really don't like having sex when I am too like under
if I'm
the
drunk,
influence.
I want to like kiss someone a little bit, but I don't want to do anything more than that,
because you're numb. You feel literally nothing, and it's just like everything. But I get what you're saying. I think like, you know, I don't think I realized until like, no, I mean, I guess I've realized, like I started like having all these sexual experiences consensually, just so everyone knows, very like young and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think you should be afraid of being like bad, because I also think like, especially when you're talking about like getting into a relationship with somebody, I think the right person will be willing to work with you, because again, like there's this period of learning each other.
The weird place that I'm stuck in is like, I don't think I'm really in a place where I want to be in a full committed relationship right now, but hookup culture isn't something I'm interested in. And so where does that leave me?
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Sorry,
like,
that was hard.
No, but like truly, like I don't know where that leaves me, particularly because I think I'm at a point right now where like, for like re-entering and like working on sex stuff, like it would need to be with someone I'm really comfortable with, and it would probably need to be in a relationship. But like, relationships take a long time to build up, so I think I might just end up celibate for the rest of my life. Bummer.
I feel like you'll figure it out.
No, it won't be the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. It's hard. Sex is complicated. And I feel like as you get older, because I feel like when I was in high school having sex, like you were just so hormone heavy that it was just like, you were fucking like bunnies. Like, I'm not kidding. Like I cannot believe how much sex I was having in high school.
I was like genuinely kissed maybe once, maybe twice in high school. Like not counting theater classes or again, my friend group that would all make out with each other.
Theater kids. That's what theater kids do, everyone.
Theater kids love to make out, my dudes.
They all make out with each other.
They're all horny little bitches.
But I feel like now, like, you know, I'm on medications too that I think sometimes affects my sex drive. I also feel like life is busy and sometimes you're tired and like, you know, it can be hard. So I think there's 110 things that can affect sex, you know, and I think it's also like something that I've had to learn is that like, it's not going to be mind blowing every single time. Like that's just kind of like not realistic. There are times where it's like so amazing and you're like, that was amazing. And then there's sometimes where Olivia and I look at each other and we're like, what is happening? Like, you know,
I do think that I've really learned for myself that I'm like talking through it and like not just consent, but like going beyond that of like, hey, I think I'm at an age where like if someone cannot have the conversation with me of like, hey, what do you like? What do you not like?
Yeah.
Then I'm not interested in having sex with you. But like really having thoroughly talked through of like, yeah, like I'm not going to get into details of other things, but like one of my first like somewhat sexual experiences was entangled with a lot of fear of it was the first time that I'd really ever like hooked up with anyone. We were just making out.
Yeah.
The guy started choking me out of nowhere. And like, he was a lot taller than me, like had a lot of mass on me. And it was not that far into the school year. And I remember thinking like, oh, this is when I die. I'm about to be murdered. And no offense to this man. He's pretty attractive, but he also kind of has that like hot serial killer look.
He does.
And I was like, oh, this is when I die. Of like that stuff should be like discussed. There's nothing wrong with it, but it needs to be done safely. And like I think I've learned that like whoever my next sexual partner is, it's like I want to have very explicit discussions. About
Olivia and
like,
I have very like
what
important
you want
talks
and like what you plan on doing. Of like I will be so much more comfortable if I know what is happening.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like now we've gotten to a place where, you know, we are both very simpatico, like we know what each other likes and wants, and hey, can I do like, but I feel like at the beginning, because of like history, there was like, you know, can I do this? Can I do that? Like, you know, there was a lot of conversations about it. I remember like, you know, because I think something that I struggled with in my last relationship was sexual autonomy. So the yes or no of it all, I felt like I always had to do it. And so there was a period of time like where I would just say like no all the time because I feel like I swung the pendulum and then I had to come back in the center. So yeah, I definitely think with like a partner and when you're exploring sex, there's so many different phases, right? You ebb and flow and everything. And now I feel like 4 years into my relationship, I've become very secure in the fact of like, okay, things ebb and flow. There's highs, there's lows, there's in-betweens, but you're going to be okay.
I know I'm going to be okay.
And when you do have sex again, like let's talk about it. Like whether it's a blowjob or whatever. Like I'm not good at blowjobs, so we got to get Steph over here. I feel like she would give a great tutorial.
The number of times in college where I'd be like, guys, can you just walk me through a blowjob?
No, I like.
Now I need to find a lesbian who can talk me through eating a pussy.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I don't have to give blowjobs anymore because I hated them too. They hurt my jaw.
I didn't like giving them and I was bad at them. Again, the like maybe 2.5 times I gave them.
Yeah, I just didn't like them. So yeah. Okay,
so we're gonna move on to the actual.
We're gonna move on, but that was a good talk. I mean, I think talking about sex is so interesting, and I don't. And actually, let's bring it back to gayness. I was telling Olivia the other day because I had mentioned to Liz something about like Olivia and I's sex life, and I think like when I was in high school, and I get it again, hormones. Like my friends and I used to talk about our sex lives all the time, and I feel like since being in my relationship with Olivia, I really don't talk about my sex life as much in detail with my friends because a part of me doesn't know how to. Like a part of me is like nervous and afraid and like, oh, is this weird? And also that's like my own internalized homophobia for myself. But it's definitely something that like I was like, oh, like I need to start like being able to like express this because like I would tell a friend if a guy did this to me or said this, but like if Olivia says it, it's like this whole other roadblock in my head. So bringing it back to gayness.
Gay.
Gay. So did you ever take an Are You Gay quiz?
Yes, but I think once I already knew I was gay, it was like we would take the Kinley scale, and I almost always would get like a straight 3, right in the middle. But I don't think I ever took one to actually figure out if I was gay. I feel like maybe sometimes in high school when it was like I already kind of knew I was, but like that sort of self-doubt would creep in.
Yeah. See, I don't even know if it was self-doubt for me. I think it was like me trying to like make myself straight. Like I was like, let me take these quizzes and like whatever.
I think I felt I had to prove that I wasn't straight. When regardless, all I need to prove that I'm not straight is the fact that I would like to kiss women. I would like to kiss women on the record. Fully.
Okay. This one's interesting. I'm not going to do this one. Sorry, you guys. I'm looking at, so we are going to, what are we doing? I literally didn't say anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Am I Gay quizzes in honor of Pride Month, in honor of being out and happy and in our queerness, discovering it. But I just thought this would be fun to do because like as a kid, I did this.
This is a BuzzFeed quiz. This checklist will determine your straight number.
Oh, that's what that one is. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to read it or do you want me to read it?
I'll read it to you.
Okay.
Okay. Is your favorite Britney Spears song Toxic?
I mean, I like Toxic.
Is it your favorite?
No.
Is your favorite Carly Rae Jepsen song Call Me Maybe?
Yes.
Yeah. Is Call Me Maybe the only Carly Rae Jepsen song you know at all? It's not for me.
Oh, okay. For me, it is.
Do you lose your mind when they play Shut Up and Dance at weddings?
Shut up and dance with me. I've never been to a wedding. Fun fact.
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Is Perfect by Ed Sheeran the perfect first dance song in a wedding?
I found a love. No, is that it? For
I don't know.
me.
I don't think that is it.
No, it's.
Do you like Ed Sheeran?
No, not. I mean, he's okay. No, actually, I like Ed Sheeran. What am I saying? What am I saying? Sorry, Ed.
No idea who Little Mix is. I know who Little Mix is.
I don't know who. I mean, I know queer people talk about Little Mix, but I
don't know who Little Mix is.
No, I like know them, but I don't know their music.
Okay, you definitely know some of it.
Oh, okay.
Do you love Giant Jenga?
I don't really play Giant Jenga on the reg.
I'm gonna say yes. Have you not posted a new Instagram picture in over a year? I know that's a lie for both of us.
That's a lie. Yeah, no, we post on Instagram.
Do you have empty liquor bottles on top of your cabinets? Not anymore.
No,
we used to.
But in college, oh my God.
I do think this might be for men, but we're going to continue anyway. Right. Do you wear underwear under board shorts? No.
No, but I do wear underwear. Like,
do you own anything with Grumpy Cat on it?
I don't know who the fuck Grumpy Cat is.
Do you say love wins?
Love wins. Yeah, sure.
Do you have inspirational quotes like live, laugh, love in your house?
No.
Do you call your friends the boys?
The boys. The girls. No, I guess not. No.
Do you use the word buddy to refer to your friends?
Buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Buddy the elf. No, I don't call my friends buddy.
Do you refer to your individual friends as my man? Do you refer to babies as little man or little bud?
Oh my God. They are literally like.
This is so douchey.
This is so douchey.
Can you open a bottle with a lighter? Do you love St. Patrick's Day? Have you ever experienced in participated in SantaCon?
I participated in SantaCon and I've participated in St. Patrick's Days in the city.
Do you own an acoustic guitar? I do.
Guitar.
Look, neither of us can speak. Have you ever brought out your acoustic guitar at parties? No, because I'm bad at it.
Is that a straight guy thing to do? Like,
have you never experienced that?
No.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful and it's horrible.
Oh my God. Why would they bring out their guitar to like impress women?
Show off. I'm probably not going to do the rest of this because this clearly is for men.
Okay.
Is your hand down your pants right now? Have you ever sung Mr. Brightside at karaoke?
I'm Mr. Brightside.
Do you like hot coffee more than iced coffee?
I like hot coffee.
That's a sin. I only drink iced coffee. I don't care how cold it is.
Okay.
Iced coffee.
I like iced vanilla lattes, but like in the morning, I love a hot coffee.
When you hear the word poppers, do you think of the food?
No, I don't. Especially a musical theater kid. Oh my God.
Do you still like Justin Timberlake?
Not really.
I don't really love this quiz, but there was an occasional funny moment.
Yeah, that was an interesting quiz. I feel like I'm trying to figure out like what they were like back in the day. Okay. Let's start this quiz. Okay. Have you ever
Oh no. Oh no.
Have you ever had feelings for a same gender close friend? I have.
Probably. I'd say like I really do the thing where I like I've realized that friendships are way more important to me than romantic relationships at this point. Of
Okay.
like, there are plenty of people who like like even with like coworkers that I've had previously, if like they become really important to me and I care about them and like I think they're really awesome and I think they're really cute and hot, but like I value our friendship more than I value the idea of making a move. Like I really, the circumstance
But
with
you've
me
had
is
friends
Yes.
that you think are attractive. Okay. I'm going to read you guys the yes answer. I think so. That's why I'm taking this quiz.
incredible.
And then wait, what's the difference between friendship and a crush?
Like, honestly, that was the thing for me, is like I can't tell the difference.
Okay,
a
do
lot
you want
of
me
the
to
time.
let's do that one. Let's do that. Okay. Have you ever kissed someone or wanted to kiss someone of the same gender?
Yes.
Definitely. It was great.
These are so high school.
Because I
Yes.
feel like it is geared towards younger people that are trying to figure out, like, is this me? Like, what are these thoughts I'm having? Okay. How do you feel about queer characters in TV shows or movies?
Love them. They're the best.
Okay, wait, let's. Oh, I've totally watched shows just for the queer ships and storylines. This one says, okay, and this answer says, I kind of feel like I can identify with queer characters. Should
Yes.
we put that?
I say that.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, you know what queer character, really quickly? The one that I don't think I had a crush on her, but the one that made me feel seen the most when I was a kid was Emily from Pretty Little Liars.
I never watched Pretty Little Liars.
It was Shay Mitchell's character, and I feel like it made such an impact because she wasn't necessarily super femme, but she definitely was more girly, and she was on this show and friends with like other girly girls, and like she was hiding her sexuality for a bit, and so I really resonated with her character.
Do you know who I really wanted to be in 5th grade? And I own both of her books, even though, you know, she's not a great person.
Who?
But I bought these books before we kind of really found that out.
Leah Michelle?
I wanted to be I wanted to be Rachel fucking Berry. More specifically, I wanted to be Leah Michelle.
Which
But-
theater kid did not want to be
Yeah,
Leah
I'm-
Michelle?
But like, I got bangs because she got bangs. I mean, that was 100% the reason, but that was a lot of it.
You know who I'm having that current thought with is Sabrina Carpenter. I'm like, do I find you attractive or do I want to be you?
Yeah, that is the thing I struggle with a lot. It's like, do I want to be you or do I want to fuck you? Like, I'm gonna be honest, the people who really make that a fight for me, people with red hair, like Chappell Roan, it's like, oh God, do I want to be you or do I want to kiss your face real bad?
Yeah.
I said that in a weird way.
Real bad.
I want to kiss your face real bad.
Okay, when someone asks you who you're crushing on, you say a name.
Oh my God, I remember going to Walnut Hill Summer Theater Program, and
Okay.
everyone had to like, we were doing like girl crushes or whatever, and I felt so awkward because it was mostly these straight women doing like the like typical idea of like a girl crush, and like here was little fucking gay ass me, and I was just like, all I could think of was really sexy woman, and I was like, oh no, that's definitely not the answer we're meant to give. That's not the answer we're meant to give. Think of someone fucking normal, and I think I just copied someone else's answer.
That is so true. When I remember in high school when friends would be like, oh my God, she's my girl crush, I would internally freak out because no one knew that I had like years of queer experiences.
By the time I got to like last 2 years of high school, when people would say it and still now, it fucking pisses me off. What the fuck do you mean girl crush? I either have a crush or don't. A girl you admire, phrase it in a different way. That's a dumb way. It's like how it really fucking pisses me off how like straight women will refer to their like female friends as girlfriends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop. Call them your friends. There's never been an instance where it is relevant to the conversation that they're girls. If you want, come up with a different word, but that word already has a meaning and it confuses me. I then can't tell if you're gay, and then it pisses me off when I realize like, no, you're not.
And I think another thing that I don't love when straight people say is like, oh my God, like I just wish I could like be gay. Like I
Yes.
wish I could like girls. And I'm just like I do feel bad for you because I do think men are not like, or at least the men that I've encountered. And look, I've been in a queer relationship for 4 years. So I bet there are men that are emotionally mature, but like, I am just like totally sure that like, I could never have the same relationship I have with my non-binary partner with like a cis man. Like, I am so sorry.
But like being with like another woman or being in a queer relationship has its like own set of battles. And you like you
Yes.
saying like, oh, I wish I could be gay. Like, I just don't say it. Like maybe some people are okay with it, and I'm fine with it most of the time when people say it. But like it's a dumb, honestly, a little bit of an ignorant fucking take.
yeah, no. I'm like no. It kind of rubs me the wrong way.
This
Sorry.
is Sarah and Audrey hate on straight people.
not? Okay. When someone asks you who you're crushing on, a name comes to mind.
Allie Beardsley.
Oh, okay. Well, then is that a woman?
They, them.
Okay. Okay. So non-binary. A name comes to mind, and it's someone of the same gender. Guys, this is
Emily Axford.
This has
Any of the
to
people
have
in Dimension 20.
Okay, this has to have been from like years ago because I feel like it's not very like gender inclusive. So we're gonna say the name of the same gender comes to mind. Has anyone ever asked you if you were gay?
No, to a point where like so there was an instance in high school where like if you were on the leadership team, you would get to school a bit early and set things up. And our high school had like a pool that like honestly by the time I graduated was in like horrible condition and they had just fully shut down. But the leadership team would be able to see it, go hang out at the pool a little bit before the school year started. And I left my phone there by accident. And there was a lifeguard who was there, who was like a teenage boy about our age. And I'd left my phone, got it later. We turned my phone back on and my phone had died. So he went and charged my phone and took a photo like of his name and number so that I would find it in my phone. And I honestly found that a little creepy that he had gone and charged my phone and done that. And I didn't love it. And so I was talking with a group of people and like some were closer friends of mine, some were not. And one of my friends volunteered to be like, oh, next time we go to the pool, I can pretend to be your girlfriend so that he'll leave you alone. And a girl in the circle who lived in my dorm, but like I didn't know very well, like just laughed, like scoffed and went like, oh, you're not believably gay. He wouldn't leave you alone after that. And like I already was like, not super loudly. Like by the time I got to college, I was really loud about being queer. But in high school, I wasn't very loud about it. But like I was already somewhat out. And that felt horrible. And it's something that like I feel totally fine about and don't care about now. But like for years, made me feel so fucking insecure.
Yeah, because it was undermining your identity and who you are. No one has ever asked me if I was gay. Actually, when I told my friends, they were shocked. Like, and it's interesting because the friend that I was in a relationship behind closed doors with, people asked her all the time, assumed all the time.
Really?
But no, never. Like, it was a shock for people.
Dang.
Yeah. So, what should we say? We'll say I've been asked once or twice.
Yeah.
That's what we'll go with. Okay. When you imagine being in a relationship, what do you picture? I can only see myself with someone of the same sex. I'm not sure. Any gender seems okay. I'll probably be with someone of the opposite sex. I can only see myself with someone of the opposite sex. I feel like I'm not sure any gender seems okay because that feels more inclusive. You know what's interesting, you guys, and I think about this a lot. When I was younger and I was in that relationship with that friend, I thought, like, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, oh, like, could I marry this person? And I was like, yeah. Like, I was like, you know, like, obviously I was so young. I was 12 or I was like 13, but I was like I envisioned us like getting married and things like that, which was very interesting. And I think telling, like, as a 26-year-old now, like knowing that I thought about that and I was okay with that version of my life. So
I think I read as really gay when I was younger. Like I mean, I read as most of my like childhood up sort of till like middle schoolish. Most people read the way I look as like I looked like a young boy for a lot of my life. I had really short hair. Okay. I wore those fucking like plaid, but like multi-stitch of different squares of different fucking plaid shorts and like a green monster, which is like a reference to the Red Sox team, t-shirt. And that was what I wore. And I had a little fucking like, just not even like Peter Pan, like as in like the like women's haircut. I put loosely in quotations.
Sure.
But I just straight up had a boy's haircut.
Yeah.
And I never wore a shirt.
I've always been a girly girl, still am. But yeah, I feel like everybody, again, like expresses their gender how they feel and want. But yeah, I'd never been like, growing up, I'd never been like a tomboy. And that's what this friend had always been like defined as, like a tomboy, because she played a lot of sports. She dressed a little bit more masculine and things like that.
I feel like was a tomboy until like kind of leading up into middle school. And then, I mean, like with high school, like doing like theater and being like a music theater program, like there was a level of like gender that was so performative of like I was always in makeup, always very dressed up, and then like I eventually learned like, oh, people treat me better and see me nicer the better that I like dress and do makeup and hair and everything.
And that
there
is
was
true.
a degree in which, like, particularly like for auditioning and everything, it began to feel like a real performance that I learned how to do over time.
And you know what's interesting now, like looking at the younger grades at Elon, or like just like the new generation of people, there's so many more queer women.
Yes.
So
But, like,
much more.
That's what's crazy for me is like even where I went, that was like an arts high school of like there very much were queer women, but it was very underground. Like it was not publicly, like there was even people like after the fact that I found out about, or like a thing at Elon was I would know about a lot of the gay people because they would come up to me and talk to me about it because I was so fucking loud about it. That there was like a lot more queer women than you would think.
Right.
It was just
Hush.
women were expected, to be very quiet about it. And I very much experienced, like, not me personally, but with my friends at Walnut Hill, of like, there was plenty of women who were very comfortable with the gay men and had no issue with that.
Right.
But, like, I had queer female friends who would not come out to all of their friends because those friends would have a fucking problem with it.
Yeah, I think it felt scary to me. It was like, oh, will they
Yes.
see me differently? Will they treat me differently? And I think now, I think a lot more people in general are like bisexual, are
Yes.
willing to experiment. And so I think it's not as scary to come out because there's so many people, whether it's like, you know, I've experimented and I've chosen like, hey, this is who I am and I'm straight or I'm bisexual or I'm fully lesbian or gay or whatever. I just think there's so much more of that nowadays.
Well, I mean, like, even think back to like Pitch Perfect. One of the characters in it, like the only queer character, was like a predatory lesbian.
Sure,
And, like,
yeah.
there was very much still that cliche.
Yeah. How would you feel about identifying as gay?
Already do.
Yeah, that feels right. Have you ever felt attracted to someone of the same gender?
Yeah.
Yes.
Emily
How-
Axford.
How do you feel about dating someone of the opposite gender?
Good.
Period. Do you ever fantasize about being with someone of the same gender?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you imagine kissing or being intimate with a future partner, how do you feel?
Honestly, within my head, I see just like a shapeless blob.
As long as I'm with someone I really like, that sounds great.
Yes.
Period. That's what it says. I'm like rushing us through this, you guys, because we gotta end this up. Wrap this up. If you scroll through your feed or FYP, do you see content creators from queer creators? Do you see
Yes.
content from
Honestly,
queer creators?
that was the thing that TikTok figured out about me the absolute fastest. When I downloaded that app, immediately I got gay women, and I was like, am I a lot gayer than I thought? Still haven't fully come to an answer to that. Maybe.
Would you feel comfortable using an LGBTQ dating app?
Again, I know there are ones for women, but none of them are super popular. I
Yeah.
feel like maybe
Maybe we
ignorant.
should make one. Don't steal our idea. Are you?
I don't think we get to claim that idea
That's
that
our
broadly.
idea. It's ours. Are there a lot of LGBTQ individuals in your friend group?
Yeah. In fact, I had one friend who, like, it was an instance where there was a bunch of us, and I called her the token straight, and she didn't love that. And that's fair, but I thought it was very funny.
I love this final question. What inspired you to take this quiz?
This podcast.
The answers are: I think I may be gay, but I wanted some extra validation. I identify with aspects of the queer experience, but I'm not sure where I stand. I'm just curious about the results I'll get. I want to confirm that I'm heterosexual.
But, like, what I would say is tricky about these quizzes is that, like, you can just give the answers that you want to hear. Like, that's what, like, you can just give the answer that you know will give the answer that you want.
You guys want to know our score?
Yeah.
You might be gay.
Only might?
Only might.
After all that, we're only maybe gay?
It looks like you it looks like you relate to a lot of common experiences for queer people, and oh my god, I'm so sorry you guys, I can't speak. Common experiences for queer people as they're figuring out their sexuality. It's normal for young queer people to feel that their experiences differ from the experiences of the people around them without knowing why or being able to name the process known as questioning one's sexuality.
That was something that I very much experienced in middle school, as I was like, something feels different for me, and I'm not quite sure what it was. And I kind of figured it out at the end of middle school. There was a girl who we had a weird tension. Honestly, we were kind of in a, not actually, But from my point of view, it was a weird sort of throuple we had going on in a weird way.
Yeah, it definitely looks like this is aimed at
At
younger
youths.
people because it says it mentions young age so much. And then what I do think is great, and this is on WikiHow, they like name some online communities: the Trevor Space, finding an LGBTQ friendly therapist, calling an LGBTQ hotline, which I think is great.
Did you ever take the Kinsley scale test?
No, we talked about this.
Yeah.
I
No, this
don't.
is a different one.
Oh.
That was the race purity test, which maybe we'll take at another point. The Kinsley was like 1 out of 6 of like gay or straight. And I remember like being so proud of that I got exactly on the dot of a 3.
Period. And that is bisexuality. It's real. Don't erase it.
It's here. I think people are hot. And the fact that other people don't, that seems so silly to me. Like, to be honest, I think that was the major thing that held me back from figuring out that I was like bi, queer, whatever, was the fact that I was just like, yeah, people are hot.
Right.
And I thought everyone thought that because people are hot.
Right. And why do you have to put a label on it if you don't want to? Your label is, I think people are hot.
Exactly.
All right, guys, we need to wrap this episode up before this stops recording us. So thank you guys so much for listening. Happy Pride Month. We really hope to make this space, you know, a space for
Are you gay?
LGBTQ people.
If you're not, that's okay too. Sorry that we were a little bit of a haters on straight people today.
Yes, no, you straight people aren't
Straight
terrible.
people are totally great.
No, but I think one of the intentions we had when we made this podcast was just feeling like we wanted
For
to
the
see,
gays.
more representation of like queer people just like talking about life and like their queerness. Like, yes, it can be, you know, especially brought out like during moments, but like it doesn't need to be like
As something woven into the tapestry of your life.
period. So thank you guys for listening. If you want to follow us on social media, we would absolutely love that. You can follow us on Instagram at Completely Fucking Clueless.
And on TikTok and YouTube, I completely FCKING Clueless.
Period. Please do not forget to rate, review, subscribe, especially if you're straight and it's Pride Month. Like,
It's homophobic.
It
if you
is
don't.
homophobic
In
if
fact,
you do
if
not.
you haven't liked or upvoted or whatever the fucking thing on Spotify or Apple Podcasts is to this podcast and you're straight, you're not an ally.
It's not giving ally energy. So please give us ally energy or support your fellow queer people because we
Go
would love
Venmo
you.
your gay friend $1.
Literally. And put because it's Pride Month. All right, you guys.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Have an amazing Tuesday. Have an amazing week. And do not forget to be motherfucking clueless. Mwah, mwah. Happy Pride. It's Pride. 'Cause I was born this way. Hey.